Hey guys, it's Coin Crazy. I want to show you a couple items that I picked up at a local antique store. So I do go to antique stores. I love going to antique stores. I'm always on the lookout for items that have some historical significance or just have that wow factor. That's really a cool piece. Or preferably, I'm really looking for things that can provide me with some utility and will appreciate in value. So I'll give you an example. I have a very modern kitchen. I have stainless steel appliances, brand new ones. I'm going to be getting a granite countertop soon. I've got a very modern kitchen in every sense of the word. However, all of my dishware and all of my silverware, my flatware, is vintage, and yeah, it appreciates in value. Believe it or not, there's a huge market for vintage dishware and that type of thing. I'll give you an example here. So this is something called Jadeite, and I'm going to make a video about Jadeite. Probably, I don't know, tomorrow. Maybe I'll get around to it. But Jadeite is very, very, very popular. Go to eBay, look up Jadeite, or go to Google and just look up Jadeite, YouTube, Jadeite, look it up on any of the search engines, and you're going to see there's a huge following for Jadeite. I probably got more than 200 or 300 pieces of Jadeite. Dishes, the plates, the dinner plates, the saucers, the cups, you name it. And this stuff's hard to find, believe it or not. It never used to be, but it's getting to be hard to find. You go to an antique store and you can barely find any of it, whereas there are some antique stores and you can find a ton of it. And this stuff is made by Fire King, which was a popular brand in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. This is called the Jane Ray pattern, and this is a sugar bowl, and it was made in approximately the 40s, and you can tell by the how the logo is on the bottom. But I've got a ton of this stuff. This is one of the couple pieces that I put up just because of some different significance it has. But anyway, and there's a little milk bowl. But I mean, they even have like books for this stuff. An unauthorized guide to Fire King. And anyway, I'll show you guys more on that in the next video that I make on that particular subject. I think you guys will find it pretty fascinating, but my logic is buying things that I can use today with great, taking decent care of them, but I can use these items today and they appreciate in value. And trust me, they do appreciate in value. And then one day I'll trade them out for regular dishware and make a killing, hopefully on a return. So I'm always looking for cool things like that. Plus, it just makes my kitchen a lot more interesting. But when I go into these antique stores, I'm looking for that type of thing. I'm not looking for coins and currency. You can find those things at antique stores, but probably the worst place to buy those type of items because they're marked up. You're going to find something significantly. You're going to find something, a coin that should be selling for $20 or for $10 and it's selling for $20. The reason for that is, think about it. An antique store is not a coin store. People are going there to find cool things that they can take home with them. They're not necessarily experienced coin collectors. So when they walk past that glass display case that has that $20 coin that should be really selling for 10, they're just looking at it as a cool old American coin and they're buying it for 20 bucks. And you can't fault the dealers for that. It's actually good business, smart business. You can sometimes find some antique stores. I've seen a few where there are amazing prices on coins because they're not capitalizing on the fact that they're in an antique store, which they really should be. But you can sometimes find some good deals, but you're either going to find them at dealers who are experienced and they're there just to sell the coins whenever they can, or they don't know what they have. So you can find a lot of that at antique stores. They don't know what they have, believe it or not. They know it's old, but they don't know what they have. You can find a lot of that at antique stores. So anyway, what you can find is old checks, and you can find these things pretty reasonably priced. You can find them from anywhere between $1 all the way up to $50. It just depends on the significance of the check. I suppose even it can be a higher amount than that depending on who the check is written to or who it was written from. But I found these tonight. I paid $5 for this one, or $4 for this one, and $5 for this one. And I think these are going to do really well. You guys know I have a currency collection, and this is where they're going to go. If you haven't seen those videos, just look back a couple videos and you'll see this big blue binder I have full of old American currency, old world currency, debit and credit cards from the 50s all the way up through today, and money orders and every form of payment you can imagine I have in my collection. And I thought these would do really well. Reason being is they're both issued by Coca Cola distributors. And I thought that was awesome. And what's cool about these checks is not only are they appealing to guys like me who collect currency and that type of thing, monetary instruments, but they're also cool to a whole nother set of collectors, people who collect Coca Cola. So I think even though I didn't pay very much for these, I think in a couple decades when I decide to sell off my collection, not only does it make my collection interesting as a whole, think about it, I got every form of payment and some very cool forms of payment here. But it makes it very desirable, my collection, which should increase the overall price of the entire collection in theory. But then at the same token, I should be able to get a good return on this because there's going to be a Coca-Cola investor out there willing to maybe pay me, even if it's not much of a return, maybe $10 and $9 or $8, maybe double my money. Even if I get a little bit more, I'm sure I'll be able to in a couple decades here. But anyway, let me show you what I got. This is a check from 1964. They're both written in December, both of the checks. And this one was from the Coca-Cola distributor there in Ottumwa, Iowa. I've been to Iowa many times. I don't know where Ottumwa is, and it was kind of confusing at first. When I read this, I thought the C was both for Coca-Cola and the city's name. I thought it was Cotamowa. I guess it's Coca-Cola Ottumwa, or Ottumwa Coca-Cola. This check was written for $30, which was a huge amount back in 1964. And it was written to Mr. Roy Adams on 59th Place in Arvada, Colorado. And you can see here that there's the signature of the manager. And what's cool is they didn't have the Micker line down. I come from the financial industry, so I can tell you a lot about checks and things like that. And down at the bottom of every check, there's a magnetic or a line called the Micker line. And it is printed with magnetic ink, and it consists of the routing number, the account number, and the check number, and sometimes the amount. Back then, they were just putting the amount. You can see it's just $30. So, and it's pretty cool. You can see he endorsed it in pencil, so I got his autograph too. I'm not sure if that's his driver's license number or what that would be. But then look at all these stamps, all the processing. It went to Denver, it went to Chicago, it went to Ottumwa, all these different places, which is pretty cool. And then when they void them out, you can see it says, you might be able to see it, but it says paid. And then it should say the date, which is cool. And then here's this one. This is from the Dover Coca-Cola bottling plant in Dover, Delaware. This was written December 8th of 1948, just a few days after my grandmother was born. And when I saw this check, this is what made me think I gotta buy these. This reminded me so much of my 1947 Chevy Stylemaster that I have outside, just the way this is. And when I saw that, I immediately thought 40s, and sure enough, it was from the 40s. You can see this one was written to M&E Refrigeration Accessories for $15.31. I wonder how much that is in today's money. That must be quite a bit of money back then, I'm sure. I'll have to look up the inflation calculator and type that in and figure out what the equivalent is in today's money. And you can see here, check that out. You can kind of see in that circle there, the young kid there drinking a bottle of Coke, which I thought was really cool. And then, of course, on the back, you got the business's endorsement stamp, M&E Refrigeration, and all of the same, the stamps there, where it traveled to, and then the word paid and the amount. But I thought that was super cool. Both of these are going to make great additions to my collection. Super cheap. You can go to eBay and find these Coca-Cola checks from all different areas of the country. And they're really not that expensive, but they make really cool additions to really any collection, in my opinion. Hey guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 500 subscribers, so it's going to be pretty cool to get to that milestone. Take care, have a good night, and stay safe out there.